Welcome everybody to Zoom at 8. We are here every Tuesday night. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, how come you're not in the audience? Hey, we are here to help network and learn and help educate people. My name is Julie Ann Peterson. I am your host for every Zoom at 8. I am a loan originator. I'm a senior director at Old Capital. I am your friend, and I am here to help with your debt. We are a premier provider of debt in multifamily. Now, listen, we'll go to other asset classes if that's what you need, but we really are specialists in multifamily. So I developed this Zoom at 8 probably over 3 years ago, by the way. We've closed 13 deals within this community helping each other. So I saw a need from one of the education programs that didn't have an ecosystem, and we created this here for you. So you can find your partners, find an insurance broker, find a cost segregation, find a sponsor. They're all here. They're my friends, they're my business partners, and I want you to be able to use people without they're already vetted. So these are the people you want to build your business with, and they're here tonight. They come and go on different nights, but we've got a couple here tonight that I want to have you meet and get to know. But if I can help on the debt side, I'm going to look for your T12 and your rent roll, your underwriting, and we're going to have a little chat. What are we trying to do? What are we trying to get done? Is it going to be bridge? Is it going to be agency? Do we need a sponsor? Okay, those are the things that we're going to be looking to understand and how we can help. All right, without further ado, let's get to know my partners. So in the house tonight, JT Lynch is here. He is our insurance broker. There are insurance brokers like there are mortgage brokers, right? But when you are looking for a partner, you make that partnership and you stick with them, all right? Because yeah, you can go find another deal, maybe another person to do it, maybe, but they're not going to give you the service that you come to expect, right? Especially if you're part of my network. So I have vetted JT Lynch for over 4 years, I can't remember. And JT does a great job. So JT, give us your intro.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. I really appreciate it. That was my daughter, Remy. She is right at 2 months old right now. So she keeps us busy and up at night. So hopefully we can get into a good routine. I can be on the Zoom a little more often. But yes, I'm an insurance broker with Ramey King. We've been around for over 35 years, specializing in multifamily insurance. And Julie, you're exactly right. There's a lot of brokers out there, but it really takes a specialist to get it right. You want to have somebody that knows what they're doing on your team from the start. And to help everyone here, before you even submit an LOI, just send me the rent roll, the T12 and the OM, and I'll send you a free insurance estimate to get you off to the right start. It helps knowing the right kind of people to get these deals taken care of. And I'm here to help you and be a part of your team along with Julie.
Awesome. Thank you so much, JT.
Yep. I'll drop my contact info here on the chat.
Okay, good. And everybody else, put your information in the chat so we can get to know you. It is not like going to a conference where you're shaking hands, but it is like a conference in that you take people's information and you contact them. So get going. After tonight's call, you've got a whole list of new people to build relationships with. All right. Our next person is Mark Gross. Mark comes here every week. His wife is probably sick and tired of Tuesday nights. It's Zoom at 8, honey. And we are so grateful for you to be here, Mark. Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you very much, Julie. Looking forward to seeing you and many others at the Old Capital event in Dallas next month. So if you haven't signed up yet, make sure you do. I'm Mark Gross from CSSI, Cost Segregation Services. Over the last 20 years, we've completed over 35,000 studies. And if you're not familiar with cost seg, what it basically does is accelerates depreciation, reducing or eliminating your IRS tax liability. My information is in the chat. Let me know if I can provide a free preliminary analysis. Thank you.
Awesome. And Mark is in Chicago. So Julian I hope you guys know each other. Yeah, because you
Yes.
went to some conferences. So that's awesome. All right, Drew, it's been a little while, but you have been here in the past. So what I typically do is for the new people, we want to get to know you. All right. So Drew is going to do a 30-second elevator speech. He's got 30 seconds to tell us who he is, where he's located, what he's looking to do. All right. On Zoom at 8, unless we have a deal together, I ask that you don't talk about your deal. But if you're in a deal with me, which we have someone here that's going to talk about the deal, let's save that for other discussions. So Drew, show us how it's done, please.
Hey everyone, my name is Drew Pitchford. I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee. Been a multifamily now for a year and a half. Am under contract on a deal, but I'll leave it at that. Also have bought some self-storage as well as multifamily. So kind of expanding a little bit, looking in the Nashville area, also looking in the Florida market. I can be boots on the ground around Nashville for you. My skills are underwriting and maybe some asset management too. I guess we'll see after tonight if I really think that. And yeah, the thing that you could help me with is capital raising. So that's it.
Oh, that was so good, Drew. That was probably one of our best. So you've really set the bar high. So you guys take a little breather and see if you can do it as good as Drew. All right, let's see. In the house tonight is Sean Gaylord. Sean has been with us before, but it's been a little while. So I know people come and go. Sean, another Chicago girl. What do you got, Sean?
Well, good evening, everyone. As she mentioned, my name is Sean Gaylor. I'm with GT Capital Management. My husband will be here shortly. We are based out of the Chicago area, but our primary market is down in Houston. We've been in the multifamily space for about 10 months now. We started in the single family space with rentals and fix and flips, but we knew it was time to expand and we chose multifamily to do that. So I can say too, just for a quick moment about JT, he has been phenomenal to work with. Insurance in Texas has been unbelievable, and he is spot on every time. He's helped us catch ourselves on deals that maybe would not have been such good deals had we not had good insurance quotes from him. So JT, you are awesome. Thank you.
Oh, look at that. I love that. My peeps are awesome. So very good. Thanks, Sean. Make sure you put your stuff in the contact information in the chat. There you go. All right, Brad London, I'm sorry you're driving. Is it possible that you could tell us a little bit about yourself as you focus on the wheel, or is that too dangerous? I'll give you a second. Maybe. I would hate to be responsible for a crash, so maybe I should just mind my own business. Are you there? No? Okay. I think he left. No, there he is, Brad London. Okay. All right, no problem. All right, let's see. Who else is new? You know, Janelle hasn't been here in a while. Janelle, let's hear from you.
Hi, everybody. I haven't been here in a while. That's right. I'm glad to be here, Julianne. Hi, everyone. I am located in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I am currently a limited partner in a deal in Florida in a commercial multifamily building, and I'm looking for more limited partner opportunities. I see some faces on here who have been, I've been told about. I need to reach out to you who are experts in the passive investing realm. And so I am looking for opportunities in short-term rentals, commercial multifamily, self-storage, triple net leases, RV parks. So I am here to connect with my peeps and to make some good, have some good conversation and do some good networking and learn from you and learn from each other. So thank you for welcoming me back, Julianne. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Glad you're here. All right. Make sure. Oh, and you did put your stuff in the contact information in the chat.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Julian, can we get you on here? Do we get to see you tonight?
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay.
There you are.
Here I am. What's going on, everybody?
All right. Well, we want to hear from you. What is your 30-second elevator speech?
Okay, hi guys. My name is Julian, not Julianne. Julian. I'm based out of here in the Chicagoland area. So between me and my partners, we're focused on partnering with other more experienced operators and providing the capital. And we're also focused on residential assisted living. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that asset class at all, but our partners, they have a medical background. So we feel like we have a competitive advantage that way. So seeing if anyone else has familiarity with that as well, would love to connect.
Awesome. Well, Julianne says that's fantastic. Awesome. All right. Dan Riley is in the house. Dan, do we get to see you tonight?
I'm at my daughter's soccer practice, but I'll give
okay.
a preview if you like. But hey, guys, how's everybody?
Tell us all about yourself, Dan.
Dan Riley. I am a deal sponsor. We are looking for assets in the 100 to 200 unit range, Des Moines, Dallas, Waco, I-35 corridor, and getting creative right now with debt and making offers and trying to make deals happen. So excited to be here. You're such a great resource to us in the community. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Dan. I'll see you Friday. All right. I think that's all of our new friends that are here. I do want to make sure you guys all know, as Mark mentioned, Old Capital Conference is coming up September 14th and 15th. And if you're looking for the right conference, Old Capital is it. All right. We're not going to send you into a big room and hijack your time. Okay. That's not what we're doing here. We are giving you very good information. We're not selling you a program, and we're giving you the opportunity to network. Well, let's get on with the show. All right. So tonight, listen, how many times have you said, or somebody says to you, oh yeah, I'm going to asset manage this deal. And they've never, ever done a deal. Oh, but I'm going to asset manage. What do you know about multifamily? All right. So when you are looking at deals, when you're looking to be an LP, ask the question, who's going to asset manage this and what is their experience? Because if they don't have experience, you might pause. You might say, do I want to put my hard-earned money into a deal where there is no asset manager who has experience? And that is real important. And again, here at Zoom at 8, I'm here to help educate you and figure out, maybe you don't know how to be an asset manager, all right? And so this is a great resource tonight. And Kim has some exciting news that she's going to share that may be something you want to get involved with. So let me tell you a little bit about Kim. Kim Bruggeman is Lighthouse's president. She's the president at Lighthouse Management Solutions. She's responsible for development and operational oversight for their multifamily and student housing portfolio. She brings over 16 years of property management experience encompassing over 25,000 units nationwide. That is a lot for a property management company, or even just a property manager. That's a lot of units, you guys. Kim has been involved in multifamily real estate investments, due diligence, acquisitions, transitions, budgeting, financial management and reporting, vendor contract negotiations, property branding, human resource training and management. I mean, this goes on and on. I would love to tell you all about it, but Kim's personality is just going to overshine all of what she's done. She has a working knowledge with FDIC, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, CMBA, bond financing. So what does that do? That she is bringing to your team the way that you will need to write the checks, pay the mortgages. She is overseeing all of that information. And if you're new at this, you may not know how to be working on bridge loans. You know, we've got this rate cap, right? How are we going to manage our rate caps? You know, are we going to be able to make the mortgage? This is what Kim does. She oversees it all and is responsible for making you the general partner successful and making you, the limited partner, a lot of money. So that's why I wanted to bring Kim. She brings a whole bunch of information and experience and talent to our evening tonight. So before we turn it over to Kim, let's give her all of our attention, because I don't want to see everybody in the back who's, poking on their computers. Look at the right-hand side, go to view, and give her the attention she deserves. Kim Bruggeman, good evening. How are you?
Hey, Julie. Thank you for having me.
Kim, I'm so glad that I am not, my picture here has you all by yourself, and you are so beautiful. If I was sitting next to you, I would look like dog crap. So I am so glad that I don't have to be seen next to you, because you are just fantastic. You're beautiful.
You're sweet.
Kim, I am so excited to have you on tonight. We've known each other for a little bit of time. It's always great to see who's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We've done business with Greenstone Multifamily and Scott and his team, and Kim's on the team as well. And you bring something very special that I have looked out for my teammates. You have a property manager on your team, which is you. You're also the asset manager. You do due diligence. You do construction management. You do acquisitions. I mean, your team is solid. This is how I went and managed and developed my team. And I'm just so thrilled to see other people doing it just like us. So, Kim, I could go on and on about your experience, but what I do want to, we didn't touch on it, but you were in receivership, right? With Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. You worked for a hotel company. And so maybe you can give us a real brief overview so that we can understand where you really came from. I know you did all these things, but how does that impact the quality of your what you can bring to our investors?
Sure. Well, thanks, Julie, for having me here. And I appreciate that warm welcome. And I'm excited to be here with all of you tonight. As Julie mentioned, that's the wordy part of my my experience. But, who you see here is who you get. I think I'm a very person-to-person, relationship-driven person. So, and I'll share a little bit about my experience, but most importantly, I'm just happy to see faces and connect to each one of you. So as Julie mentioned, I have a lot of experience in this sector. I came into the real estate space very untraditionally. It wasn't a destination that I originally sought after, or it was just rather one that just naturally evolved very organically throughout my career. As Julie mentioned, I began my career in the hotel management company as director of corporate development for that company. It was important to me, as I just mentioned, to listen and understand my clients' needs and what they lacked from possible other operators that they worked with, and how that we could help them as a company to optimize the success for their investments. I always ask questions. I'm always wanting to learn. There's a sign behind me in my office that says surround yourself with people you can learn from. So I'm always listening and trying to understand different perspectives. So during that time, I spent a lot of time listening to my clients and their visions, understanding their investment structures, their details on, what they needed to achieve and how our company could marry their operational services and align with those goals and visions for those clients. I spent a good many years building solid relationships of trust with my clients, as I mentioned, listening to their needs. And I took that commitment very seriously as I built relationships with large lenders, special servicers, private investors, and individual general partner groups. As Julie mentioned, during this time, the company was a nationwide management company and a certified receiver. And A lot of people don't understand what a receiver is, but a receiver is somebody that the court will appoint to receive the asset and manage it while it's possibly in distress, in pre-foreclosure or in foreclosure. So a lot of my clients would ask the court to appoint us as the receiver. So I would come in for these assets and have to audit them and help these underperforming assets to create a turnaround plan and stabilize them for the lender and help the borrower in that situation. So, during that time, most of my clients that had hospitality within their portfolio also had multifamily within their portfolio. And these assets were scattered all throughout the United States. So, it really gave me the opportunity to understand a lot of different markets, how to virtually manage. And by doing that, it was really understanding the different markets, both, internally, financially, within those markets where they could grow from, developing reports that, could help us to do that. And then also, putting cameras out on assets and so forth, but that's a whole different subject. So, during that time that, when our clients asked us, to start the multifamily, there's a lot of similarities between hospitality and multifamily. And so I rose to the challenge of learning the differences between the two so that I could support my clients. I started the multifamily division within that company. And then I continued, Julie, to pursue my education in all things multifamily. I read everything I could get my hands on. I did a lot of research. I attended multiple investment conferences. Honestly, I didn't want to be the dumb girl in the room. I wanted to, be able to back up the things that I was promising to my clients. And I really wanted to understand, especially working with these large lenders and servicers, I wanted to understand the financial side of all of it. I was really solid on the operational procedures and how to manage the assets and how to look at marketplaces and lease and so forth. But I wanted to understand the financial side, why people invested in multifamily, understand the different debt structures, as you mentioned. What is bridge financing? What are waterfall structures? What's a cap rate? All the terms that go along with it that I really wanted to invest my time in understanding. And, through this, I developed a great interest in multifamily real estate as a whole. And I had to make a hard decision to leave the company that I work for. I love the people that I work for. To this day, I'm still great friends with them. And leaving a secure paycheck, that was hard, but, I wanted to pursue my vision of entrepreneurship and really making a difference in this space for multifamily. So I pursued starting the company and becoming, doing asset management for a lot of our clients and really just letting that be my general focus. Throughout that time, I was called in by these various ownership groups, lenders and servicers to audit their assets. Sometimes it was for an array of different reasons, whether they were underperforming, there was concerns in partnership issues or general partners that the lender might have in reviewing financials. They were concerned where cash flow might be going. So I would come in and audit them, create stabilization, reposition, or unfortunately sometimes disposition plans. So, basically, Julie, I had a front row seat at viewing live stories of both success and failure, observing and analyzing, what are people doing right? What are they doing wrong? What didn't they know? Because a lot of times it was stuff that they just didn't even know, or sometimes it was what they knew and they just chose not to apply. And where did it break? And, how do we fix it?
So let's keep this going. So I want you to give us a description of what an asset manager does, because a lot of people say, oh yes, I did single family. Mm-hmm. and I managed, 14 houses, but that's a lot different. And saying, yes, I am the asset manager on this 200 unit building because you're on the team. Okay. Kim is a professional asset manager. So Kim, can you take us through what is the description and what are you responsible for? You as the professional, or if they also have an asset manager, would you be working with them or would you be replacing them? So kind of walk us through that.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question, Julie. The best way that I can, and I say the best way, the easiest way that I try to describe asset management without it being wordy is the visualization of a bridge. That, as you mentioned, a lot of people are on, the single family side coming into multifamily, right? Mm-hmm. And I say that they're on that investment side. That's your limited partners, that's your investors, that's your general partners, your co-syndicators. And on that side, you've invested all this time and money, hopefully, and time and into education and resources to figure out where you want to go into purchasing assets. And so, and I describe it as, people who have gone to these educators, right? And they learn, how to underwrite a deal, how to analyze a market, how to talk to brokers, how to, how to do underwriting. They buy their underwriting templates. They learn how to do an LOI, all the terms and all of that, right? And then they get to the top of this mountain, right? And they're super excited. Their educator and their coaching has got them to, their peak performance and said, okay, now you've got your deal, right? And then the person's all excited and brokers are calling them now because they've closed on a deal. People are they get on these calls, everybody wants to partner because they're super excited. Well, then, they get an acquisition fee. So they got some money in their pocket and they're super excited. And then all of a sudden, they're at the top here and then they turn around to focus on the next asset, right? To go to the next acquisition. And so, and the way that I best describe asset management is the bridge between the top of that mountain to the operational side here. And so, and so many people, when they're coming up that mountain, their educator has taught them, they've gone to some courses possibly on manage the manager or, hire a good management company. And this is what to look for, your management company who is going to, do your reporting, who's going to hire and fire your staff, retention, residence, leasing, et cetera. And then who is local to that market, knows the market, right? And so they focus on that. And yet there's such this gap in between the management company who has really no affiliation to the investment model. And then, so through my experience, as I just shared, I would come in on that broken side so often for these lenders. And as a receiver, it was always on, Julie, these underperforming assets. And I would sit there and think, where did it go wrong? And I would, I use this visualization of sitting individually around a table. But in my mind, it's collective with all of these people that are investors and owners and management companies and employees, vendors, and residents, right? And when things go wrong, everybody's pointing their finger at each other, right? What went south, right? And nobody's taking accountability. Nobody's communicating. It's, and then I had to come in and kind of make, music out of this mess and figure out how to right the ship, before everything sank. And so, and I think that as I sat across that table, I looked at these people in the eye and I just felt their stories, and I knew that I wanted to make change. And I think when I, share about asset management, it truly comes from a place of passion for me, that has developed overseeing all of, successes as well as these failures. So, and when I mentioned I would sit in these conferences, right, and I would share this, stories they would get to the top of this mountain, and then they'd hand it over, and then months later, I'm like, is your investment doing? And it's, I don't know, we're focused on this and we're doing that. I'm like, well, who's managing it back to your pro forma and your expectations? And well, my partner's doing that, or I'll go to a conference and somebody's like, I'm going to handle the asset management, but they're just two new guys that just joined together and, they decided they're going to do that. And I'm like, respectfully, holding my breath. And so, so when I best describe, what an asset manager is that bridge between the investment model, as I mentioned, and the property management, the operational side. The operational side is also your construction management side, right? They're the people that are executing your business plan, your financial plan. And so the asset manager, and I have 4 pillars, and I'll share them in a second, about what I think supports that asset management, that bridge. And, I describe it as the visual again of the person walking, juggling these balls of across that bridge back and forth between the property management or the operations, I should say, and the investment model. And that's your taking your pro forma, your budget, your plans, and then making sure that on that side that you have knowing where the money's coming from, how expensive is your money, what do we do to recirculate that money? When is that money coming? Making sure that the plan is going to be able to be supported. And, Scott was mentioning, on our asset, can we lift the rents? Can the market support that growth? Doing a solid market analysis, I assist, in all of that. And then juggling that ball of creating that financial plan to the operational plan, to the construction management plan. And it's consistently juggling those balls together because, so often I would see people focusing on just one side of that, right? And if somebody's not communicating to the construction management side, then the operational side isn't going to have the units ready or the capital, improvements to support the renovation, and the lease up plan that they have, to implement on the properties or get the rent growth that needs, and it's such, it's so important in timing and execution and you kind of just breezed over it for a second, but, during, obviously within the last couple of years, we saw whether it's inflation and interest rates and COVID, how we've had to pivot on what would be the, best laid financial plan, right? And pro forma, then, we personally took over a portfolio to manage the 1st of April. And at that time, it was several distressed assets already, but, I had the best plans laid out. And then all of a sudden COVID hit and I couldn't evict anybody for a year. I couldn't get anything done. And you have to know where to pivot, and you have to know, supplies started to change during that time, both increasing in expenses. So that changed the pro forma. So I had to walk back across that bridge and make sure that was, done, make sure we had the money to support that. Holding back sometimes your investor prefs, to make sure that we are keeping the asset healthy and strong so that it can support the operational growth long term, not looking, through a small lens of a straw. I think asset management is that bigger vision of looking at all of it. As I mentioned, and making sure that the property management team is communicated to effectively, because I've been on that operational side. I have had to make the decision of walking away from owners because they didn't fund properly, or they didn't underwrite correctly and, put $100,000 into their CapEx budget. And, and residents are having to live in, undesirable circumstances and the risks and liability, both in their product and the investment, as well as in our reputation, as a management entity. So, that asset management side also handles all of your reporting and your compliance management, to your lenders and your investors, your insurance companies, making sure that, everything from your lending side, as we submit all of our proposals for our budgets and our operational plans, as well as providing the operational credibility to the general partner team a lot of times as well. So,
all right, hold on, take a breath. All right. Now, I love it because you're so passionate about this. When somebody or a group is looking for an asset manager and you say, I can help, okay? When do they engage you? When do they say, oh, Kim, can you help us out? And what are you going to ask them, for, so that you can get their vision, right? Mm-hmm. And steer them into the right lending, the right timeframes, the right rental, what the comps are doing. How can you walk us through that?
Sure. So, as I mentioned, my passion was, I moved my vision, Julie, away from helping people. I realized I was exhausting all of my efforts fixing everybody's mistakes, right? So my passion became focused on helping people from the beginning. So when you ask, when does an asset manager, when should they be engaged? And it's now. It's, while you're looking at markets, right? Because your asset manager is going to have or should have, a wide variety of input and knowledge on different markets. They're the one who, like I mentioned, is going to cross that bridge and deliver your financial plan to your operator, and so I will be the first to, rebuke something if I think that it's not supported, because a lot of times, a broker will say, hey, you can lift the rents this, or somebody will say, you can do this. And I look at it as, Julie, my reports are crazy the way I analyze stuff, because I'm not a risk taker, in theory, but I'll take a risk as long as it's a calculated risk, to know that have we supported that change as much as we can, support, whether it's through historical rent analysis, right? And so I know ways to look at rent rolls and to look at financials and to look at things, while you're in the beginning stage. So, I always say it's good to have, another set of eyes on your underwriting. So sometimes I'll look at that underwriting to make sure that it can, as I mentioned, be executed in an operational plan. So I think the earlier, the better that you can engage that. A lot of times people that are transitioning from the single family space into multifamily, just because somebody has money doesn't mean that the lender is going to lend to them. They want to make sure that their team, as you mentioned, and all of our teams are built of that solid infrastructure of people who are going to know how to execute and how to manage and hold, that team accountable to that investment, so because the last thing the lender wants to do is take that investment back, right?
Yeah.
So
we're not in the business to take back properties. No. But right. So let me just make sure that, I've got 3 people, I've got 4 people on my team, and you've done this before. You're asset manager. That's how I see a lot of these groups. Okay, I'll do it. It's like, what do you know?
Yeah.
So if Johnny or if somebody else in the group tonight is looking to build their team, do they put you on the team at the very beginning? And if that's the case, how do you get paid for this? How do you get involved? How do you get paid?
So there's a couple different ways. That's a great question, Julie, that, I can't stress enough to the investors that are on this call, ask that question. If you're currently investing in a general partner group, if you're a part of a general partner group, ask, what is the experience of the asset manager? Who on that team is asset managing and why? Is it somebody that just needs the asset management fee because they gave up their job and they need a salary? Because that's the scariest part, right? And so, and you and I have seen that all too often, yes. Have they ever managed or purchased or owned an asset? Have they gone through the blood, sweat, and tears that we've seen, because the biggest thing is they're buying and they're investing in a multi-million-dollar business. The difference in single family to multifamily is, you're not renovating a vacant house. You are you've just closed on a multi-million-dollar 24-hour operating business. And does somebody know how to do that? And do they know how to pivot? And do they know all of that side of it? And so, that's why it's so important. And obviously why I'm so passionate about having that, because I am an owner and I am an investor and I do operate these assets. So I think that, there's different ways that you can bring in an asset manager. They can be part of your general partner team and they share in that percentage of ownership. A lot of times when I'm an asset manager, I do have ownership in the general partner side. They're able to use, my bio, my experience on their credibility kit when they're marketing to other investors to raise capital. Because again, the investor should only be investing in a team that has, qualified, construction management, and as my partners, in acquisitions and, as Scott, our whole team is, a solid infrastructure of that. And I think that you want to make sure that those investors are looking at that. So I go on their cred kit. Sometimes I go into that for the lender, or I have to go onto the loan as well. So, it can be part of that ownership side. And then it's usually a 2% asset management fee that is then paid for the services of the ongoing asset management as well. So, and as it can be a third party service, or it can be part of the general partnership group as well. So it just kind of depends on, which part of the cycle that I come in, Julie, or you involve an asset manager. As we just talked about, it's best to do it on the beginning, but sometimes, some of the people already, mentioned that they're already into a deal, and they think that they're asset managing and, but there's, so much that, you and I don't have enough time to go into that we've always talked about that really goes into, managing these assets. So I think, I hope that answers your question.
No, I think that's very poignant. Hey, listen, I love the way you said that. There's a lot of people saying, I'm leaving my W-2 and I now have to take this acquisition fee and this asset management fee so I can keep not working, right? That is not what we're talking about here, guys. You have a fiduciary responsibility to your investors. Why would you put yourself at risk? You're going back to your W-2 if you cannot manage this property right. Hand it over to an asset manager. They can talk to the property manager on your behalf. They are part of your team. That is a critical piece. Don't be selling the idea of, I can do this myself. Have you ever done it? No. Get the reality that you need to bring in a professional, put them on your team. It's critical. I'm very passionate about this. I know that Kim is very passionate about this as well. And here's what she's so passionate about it. She wants to provide an opportunity for 5 people. Kim, can I go ahead and talk about this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So Kim's passion is really about, as she said, linking the two. How can she help you? How can she help the team, cover that distance that's not being covered now? And she wants to provide an opportunity for you to walk you through what it looks like to be an asset manager. Okay. She has the skills. She wants to share it. Okay. Kim, can you tell us what that will look like? She's going to offer an opportunity for 5 people here in this room who want to learn more about asset managing. Now, that's not just for an LP or just for a GP. It really is so that you are well-rounded in what you're doing. If you are the asset manager, learn how to do it, for heaven's sakes.
Right.
There's no education programs that honestly do a good job at this. Kim has the experience. She wants to share it. So Kim, go ahead and tell us what that'll look like.
So yeah, Julie, as I mentioned, part of my passion is to help give back and to educate, people to do it right from the beginning, and as you mentioned, when is that? I want to help people to start at that beginning and create that vision. Look at your partnerships, who's filling those roles and why are they filling those roles? I'm a completely neutral, a person that's going to be able to look at it and say, okay, why is Bobby doing that? Is it, like you said, is it for the right reasons, or what education can we help, and then my goal is to then empower them to the next steps of, what does the investment model look like, from an asset manager's perspective, because again, beginning with that end in mind, backing it up to that, I want to help that general partner group to understand what that looks like from the operational side, right? As I mentioned, I came in untraditionally I began with the end and came backwards, right? And to now owning them. So helping, people to see it that way. So, I'm putting together a program that we're launching for asset management education side. And it's just, we're going to do a seminar. I want to do a webinar of 4 hours where I'm going to be able to coach on, all aspects of that, be able to get into the details of, each of those subjects that I kind of, briefly landed on and touched on, to be able to, like you said, help if you are the asset manager to, help refine some of those skills and what you should be looking at from my perspective. And then also if you're an investor, I'm super passionate about helping you to invest with the right general partner groups and, and why and what you should be looking at over your investment. I think that that's huge. I've seen too many investors get taken advantage of and lied and miscommunicated to, horror stories, Julie, that I want to be able to help people to hopefully mitigate some of those risks. And on a brief thing real fast, I wanted to say on those pillars, one of the things that I will be going over are those 4 pillars of asset management. And I'll dive into a little bit deeper the risk and liability. This is how I create every one of my plans or how I make any decision. I look at all 4 of these, both in people and in product. And it's risk and liability, things that will make you lose your money. Things that immediately you can have the best investment, but if something you're not looking at, you take your eyes off of, will make you lose your money immediately. Preventative maintenance, things that will help you save money. That's in training your employees and, preventative maintenance checklists for seasonal on the products, as we know. And then it's product improvement, things that will help you make your money. And so many people jump right to that one because they want to make money, right? They purchase this asset and they want to make it. So, I help to show, ways that we can do that both on the people and the product. And then the 4th is the retention, how we are things that will make you keep your money. So that's in our staff and our people and our partnerships, as well as in our product and long term. So I will go over those in a little bit more detail on all of that as well. So, I wanted to launch it here, Julie, because it's something that you and I share, a kindred spirit about, we're both super passionate about it and love, because we love people, right? And we love relationships and we're truly, commit to them. What I love about you is that, in your service, you're genuine and you're real and people feel that. And you want to provide, that service. And that's how, I want to be able to do within, the same space. And I think that I wanted to make sure this was something that I did alongside of you and with you. So, I want to offer it here and launch that. So, yeah. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead if you want to finish it.
All right. Well, so listen, if you are interested, Kim, do you want to talk about what the cost is? I mean, listen, it's priceless, right? If you don't know what you're doing and you just left your W-2, it could be $1,000, right? Again, there are no education programs out there that are doing something like this. Kim is offering this to you. This is just because she's so passionate. So Kim, what did you decide for there's 5 people. We want to offer to 5 people that are interested in it. What was the cost that you came up with?
So we're going to do that for the $199 cost, Julie, for the first 5 people that will do that. And then actually for the first, Julie's going to put up a link to my Calendly that, or she can share it in the show notes.
I did share it.
Okay.
Yep. I shared your email and your Calendly.
Okay. So the people who the first, what I'll do for the first 5 people that actually sign up, I will do it for free on that. And then, so my goal is to then, open up a webinar. And then on this, it's going to be $199 where we have a different cost normally for that. So anybody who signs up within that, like I said, I mentioned the first 5 people that book through the Calendly. What I want to be able to do is if you go on there, you're scheduling a call with me. So what I'll do is then we'll briefly talk about, I want to get to know who you are fast and then I'll give you all the details about when that webinar is going to be scheduled. And then again, it's going to be opened up to a large group. So it is going to be virtual and then hopefully feeding in to something that we're going to eventually do in person. So.
Awesome. I love it. I think we need it. Kim has such a passion and the knowledge base that is needed to get you to the next level and really put an eye on those investments that maybe are not doing well and maybe getting a sense of what are they doing wrong, right? Not that you would go in there and tell them, but get a sense of, okay, I'm going to watch that on the next one. All right. So your contact information is in the chat. Maybe if you could, it's your website and your Calendly so that we have that. Let's open it up to anybody in the room. Does anybody have a question for Kim? You can jump with your hand up. Sandra has a question.
What size of property is best in this working with you? Like, is there a definitive asset that works best for asset management?
So no, there's not a specific. I mean, a lot of my clients, Sandra, have come from single family going into duplex and, putting their toe into multifamily, or some have just jumped into the ocean. So, right. I think that it is best to engage sooner than better, sooner than later on that, just so that, as I mentioned, my first step is to understand your vision and to know that, how we can grow together in that and help you to be successful in scaling your business as well. So there's really not a number per se. It's just really on, helping, align together in the beginning to create the long-term vision together.
So you can do anything from 2 to 2,000.
Right. Yes.
Fantastic.
Now, multifamily is going to start at 5, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, yes.
It's commercial. It's commercial then only, right? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, she could probably do several duplexes, right? If you have 50 duplexes, that works too. So. Right.
And I do, and I also have, experience in both the assisted living and hospitality side of it as well. My main passion and focus is multifamily, but I'm able to help some of my clients who have some diversity within their portfolios as well. In transitioning between, sometimes there's storage facilities as well as mobile home parks, multifamily, and hospitality as well. But
yeah,
very, very enlightening. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
All right, Jason, your hand is up. What do you got? Or are you just waving at me?
Hey.
Let's see. Jason, did you walk away? All right.
Yes.
There you are.
Yeah. So I just got somebody who's an asset manager for my team. And the reason why I got him as an asset manager is because he actually acquired a 30-unit building last year in 2021. So he said that that's his strength, and I've known him for a while. So is that good enough, or should I be screening him more?
Well, I think you always want to have your eyes and ears on everything and get educated yourself so that you can know what to expect from him, right? Everybody on a team should know, yes, we all have specialties. If you feel comfortable with what he's doing, if you feel that he has the right skill set, then I would think, but if you don't know, then maybe educate yourself. Right. Does that make sense?
I mean, I have a general understanding of how asset management works, but I really don't know like how good he is at asset management.
Right.
So what I told him was that he is going to be more involved once we actually get an LOI accepted. So I was wondering, is that the right approach? Or should I be having the asset manager more involved now, even before the LOI is accepted?
Yes, Kim is saying get involved. I mean, you're partnering with him. He's responsible for making you and your investors successful. So you want him in, he has to buy in, just like you have to buy in with the property manager. She's going to run your business. Your asset manager is going to run your business. They're going to make the property manager responsible for making you successful. So I would think you would want him in and validating all of what you say you're going to do. Because if he can't validate it, then, and you're on an LOI, you could be putting yourself at risk that he can't get that done. Right, Kim?
Absolutely. And Jason, I think that, I'm happy to jump on a call with you and kind of go over, what you're receiving currently or what that structure looks like a little bit more. I really can't emphasize enough to the investor side. And part of why I want to do this, webinar is to help people to understand what they should be receiving from their asset manager, right? And then also, what their property management company is responsible for versus their asset manager. And then what your general partner side, because your asset management comes from your general partner side. So whether that's somebody within your group, and Julie and I are partners and we're asset managing because that's our strength. Well, then, or we're hiring that out, and bringing that in as part of our entity, to help with us. So I think that, it sounds like you don't know what you don't know, really, what to expect. And you're in a common seat then as a lot of people. And that's why I shared, that they go through these great, educational courses. And, Julie and I have both seen them just get to that point about, like kind of where you are, you're already here, and now what? And you don't know what to expect. And it's kind of like, whoever says, inspect what you expect, but you don't even know what to inspect because you don't know what to expect, kind of saying. So,
yeah. So, so I'm trying to sign up for your calendar, and it keeps on kicking me out. So I don't know what's going on over there.
Okay, if there's a problem with signing up on the Calendly, you can go to the link and send an email through the website. And if you email me, then we can set it up as well.
Sure.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Kim.
Yeah. Anybody else? Oh, yes, Sandra.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, don't be sorry.
Very interesting. I think you delineated it with my question, Julie, of where does asset management and property management either overlap or complement? Because I would have thought in my newish view of it, retention would be partially part of a property management as well as maintenance. But where does that, do you manage them exclusively or,
So that's a good question, Sandra. your property management company is responsible for the day-to-day operations of your investment. So they are the ones, as I mentioned, handling all of your leasing and your marketing, your property performance, if you will, all of your enforcing of your leases, and they are hiring your staff and training your staff as well. They're paying your bills. And so in your staff, that is responsible for your maintenance orders as well, your maintenance team. So they would be handling all your maintenance and repairs. They would be, handling all your resident retention things, handling all the issues on site as well as, your community activities. So they handle the day-to-day. Your asset manager is creating that plan for them. So and what that does is it's your property management company is going to create the operational plan that's going to say, these are the activities we want to do. These are the retention items. Here's our budget that, we recommend. And then it's, the asset management's job to make sure that that budget is in alignment with the pro forma. Is it going to make sure that we are on target to achieve those projected numbers, and then, or is the management company being supported if they feel that there's a variance to what that investment model, had in their budget, right? Because as I mentioned, I've been on that operational side where I've been given this slim shady budget that is, never going to be able to be supported in turning around an asset or helping it to be a successful, investment. So, but the other thing is that you want that protective layer in there, Sandra, so that you have somebody. I look at, and our team looks at where I talk about the preventative maintenance and the risk and liability. I'm looking at those work orders as a whole, right? And I'm looking to make sure, did something get missed that is, a property manager is going to handle them, right? They're going to make sure they're handled within 24 hours or, they have their procedures, right? But I'm going to look to see is, building A having a lot of work orders for plumbing, do we need to jet those lines out? Something that's going to be in my category as preventative maintenance. That's going to help to save our money from something becoming that risk and liability issue, right? So,
yes.
I kind of bring it down to a more forensic viewpoint of that. And I look at that retention and I decide, who do we want to retain? On our assets, we just closed on, 3 student housing properties. And I already knew who we're going to non-renew and what we're going to do to those units. So then I matched that to our CapEx plan, but I looked at our lease audit and I looked at who historically, could sustain a rent growth, based upon what they have bumped up and what they can afford and who can't, so that I can project our vacancy loss, ahead of time. So that's done prior to, so as, when we're saying, when do you bring that in? It's on that investment side so that, I'm not waiting for that management company who's driven by the occupancy number and keeping it retained. I got to make sure it's matching that investment model. Does that make sense?
Fantastic.
Yeah. And you are really working on behalf of the team and the investors. That's the key, guys.
Yes, I hear that. For a success plan of the forma and a more holistic view of success.
All right. One last question. Julian, what do you got?
Yeah. So kind of along those lines, Kim, are you typically providing also like a hold sale analysis to the GPs? And if so, how often do you kind of report that?
So elaborate on that a little bit, Julian. So sales analysis as in?
Like a hold, whether to hold on to the property or whether it's like a good time to sell.
Hold, HOLD. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Hold. I didn't understand a wholesale analysis. Okay. So yes. So the biggest part, and it kind of just, pivots off of what we just talked about. When you do your original underwriting, you create that pro forma, the biggest thing to do at that point is to continue to monitor, that pro forma is beginning with your end in mind, right? That's your investment model. That's what you've committed to your investors, to your lender, and to your investment. So within that, taking that and executing it, into your operational team, I back that in monthly and look at, okay, where does our financials and our CapEx plan and our, financial model, where are the variances to our pro forma every month? Where are we on target to do that? So that at every point I can see in where we are currently to those projections. And for instance, to your point, we had an asset in Texas that we had a 5-year, projected hold time, investment model on, that we ended up selling within a year and a half because we had exceeded our 5-year pro forma numbers. And we're able to get our investors, fantastic returns on their investment and cash flow. And from the whole structure, we had put in enough reposition stability to be able to show a buyer, how to take that plan and continue it to the other 50% of the asset. We're able to show what we did to the units, how we increased the rents, how we stabilized, our NOI. And I was able to make that, assumption, with my partners on when that would be a good time to do based upon factual information. So I think that that's important for both sale and holding it, or maybe sometimes we hold it longer because it's cash flowing and knowing your investors and what their models are. Do they need that money? Do we have another deal that we can, take that money and reinvest it into another deal? So, we're able to look at it from all of those scenarios and make, more educated decisions together as a group.
Listen, Julian and everybody else in the house, Kim is part of the team. She's working with you and for you. Okay. So whether she's, you pay her the 2% or she's on the general partnership and you need to get a hold of Kim so she can educate you and you figure out how can you use her as a resource or as a partner. It's really critical to your success. Okay, your asset manager, whether it's Kim or it's your other third partner or fourth partner, that person needs to understand how to do these deals. It's not single family. You could do that all day long. This is a business, okay? So let's keep learning. And Kim, thank you so much.